If he uses the roar against other lions, he'll lose it forever. And if he doesn't use the roar, well, he'll just lose.
How calculated was Zira's revenge plot in Lion King 2? The film barely scratched the surface. Storyboards and early scripts reveal a mastermind who crafted a multi-layered strategy with networks of spies and contingencies if Kovu failed, all systematically removed from the final cut. Her character originally had a deeper backstory as Scar's chosen mate, believing herself the rightful queen of Pride Rock. This profound sense of betrayed loyalty fueled her determination to spend years in the Outlands, meticulously training an entire generation of lions for war. Her goal? Completely reshape the Pridelands forever. The unsettling question remains, how close did she actually come to succeeding? Have you ever wondered why Zira was so obsessed with Scar when we never saw them together in the first movie? We know she called him her beloved, but what if there was more to their relationship than just loyalty? What if Zira was actually chosen by Scar to be his queen and to rule the Pridelands by his side? This would explain why she was so determined to avenge him and why she felt entitled to Pride Rock. When we look at how Zira talks about Scar throughout Lion King 2, she speaks with such intimate knowledge and personal connection, almost like they shared private moments together that no one else was privy to. She knows things about Scar that even other lions who lived under his rule don't seem to remember. Zira constantly tells her cub stories about how great Scar was, describing his mannerisms, philosophies, and even mimicking his expressions. She once told Nuka how Scar would sit atop Pride Rock at dusk, explaining his vision while the shadows lengthened, a private moment she cherished. This behavior reveals someone who knew Scar on a deeply personal level. The way she carries herself displays the confidence of someone who once stood beside the king himself, not merely as a follower. Disney removed several scenes from the original script that would have made this relationship explicit. These deleted scenes showed flashbacks of Scar and Zira together in private council where he promised her she would be his queen. Our understanding of Zira would be dramatically different had we seen these moments where Scar told her their cubs would rule the Pridelands. This explains her bitterness about Simba taking over. She lost her future, position, and destiny in one devastating moment. Early concept art for Zira's character designed her to look much more like Scar with similar facial features and the same striking green eyes. The artist created a visual connection suggesting they were a matched pair. Scar chose Zira specifically because she shared his vision for how the Pridelands should be ruled, understanding his belief that lions should dominate while other animals served them rather than living in Mufasa's circle of life harmony. Some deleted scenes suggest Zira was pregnant with Scar's cub when he died, with Kovu possibly being Scar's biological son rather than just his chosen heir. Kovu's original design included the same green eyes as Scar. This connection makes Zira's determination to put Kovu on the throne more poignant. She was fighting for her son's birthright, forced to raise the true heir in barren Outlands while watching Pride Rock in the distance. The original storyline included a powerful scene where Scar pulled Zira aside during the Hyena Rebellion, telling her that if anything happened to him, she should raise their cubs to reclaim the throne. This sacred vow between mates sustained her through years of hardship. Each time her cubs went hungry or thirsty, she remembered her promise to fulfill Scar's final request. Despite the possibility he may have only used her loyalty for his own purposes, Zira's hatred for Simba runs deeper than revenge for Scar's death. Her hatred stems from believing Simba stole what belonged to her family. Every time she looks at Pride Rock, she sees the home where she should have ruled as queen with her cubs as royal heirs. Disney simplified these elements for children, but the deeper connections explain why Zira would go to such extreme lengths, even sacrificing her own children. She wasn't merely Scar's follower, she was his chosen mate who believed she had been robbed of her destiny, making her quest intensely personal rather than political. When we talk about villains, we often forget they weren't born evil, but something made them that way. The original storyboards for Lion King 2 reveal a horrifying truth. Zira was present during Scar's death and tried desperately to save him, but was physically restrained by other lionesses, forced to watch as he was torn apart by hyenas. Imagine how that kind of trauma would change someone forever. According to early drafts of the script, Zira witnessed Scar's death in its entirety. The hyena's betrayal unfolded before her eyes as as they turned on their former master. She screamed his name, fighting against the grip of other lionesses who held her back, her claws scoring deep furrows in the ground as she struggled to reach him. This moment of utter helplessness crystallized her hatred towards Simba, her heart shattered like Pride Rock during a storm, irreparable and jagged. In her mind, Simba was directly responsible for her beloved's death, a belief that would fester like an untreated wound. Her grief transformed into unbridled rage. She confronted Simba at Pride Rock, publicly accusing him of murder. The confrontation turned violent. Zira, raw with emotion, attacked the new king. Before the entire pride, she declared herself the rightful queen. Early concept art shows Zira covered with multiple battle scars across her body, telling the story of her fierce resistance against exile. Each mark on her flesh became a permanent reminder of everything she had lost. The public nature of her banishment added humiliation to her grief, being driven away from her home with her cubs and followers while the rest of the pride watched stripped Zira of her remaining dignity. This public shame festered, transforming into a cold, calculating desire for vengeance that would consume her entirely. Life in the Outlands only deepened her trauma. These barren territories barely supported life, with minimal resources. Zira struggled to protect and provide for her young cubs in an environment where survival itself was a daily battle. Watching her children starve, their ribs visible through thinning fur, hardened her heart. Her hatred for Simba intensified with each of her cubs' hunger cries, as she blamed him directly for their suffering. Nuka's death in the film provides a glimpse beneath Zira's villainous exterior. When she cradles her son's body, her carefully constructed facade cracks, revealing genuine maternal grief. This moment suggests her capacity for deep love despite everything. Original drafts hinted that Nuka wasn't the first cub she lost. During exile, others may have succumbed to starvation, predators, or disease. Each tiny grave became another wound in her heart. Another reason to hate Simba, Disney initially planned to show more of Zira's exile. She fought constantly against the very hyenas who killed Scar and other predators who targeted her weakened pride. These daily battles for territory left new scars until fighting became her natural state of being. Perhaps most devastating was watching her followers succumb to harsh conditions. Concept art depicts Zira standing over fallen Pride members, her expression one of grim determination rather than grief. Death had become so familiar that mourning was a luxury she couldn't afford. Each loss reinforced her narrative that Simba was to blame. This accumulation of traumas explains why Zira would sacrifice everything for revenge. The lioness we meet in Lion King 2 had been transformed by witnessing Scar's death, enduring humiliation, and struggling to keep her family alive in unimaginable conditions. Her obsession with revenge became the only purpose that sustained her through overwhelming suffering. A starving army can't win wars, but a starving army willing to die for its cause becomes nearly unstoppable. The Outlanders didn't just tolerate their harsh existence, they embraced it as a sacred sacrifice. What's most fascinating about Zira isn't just her personal vendetta against Simba, but how she transformed a ragtag group of exiled lions into a unified fighting force ready to launch a full-scale invasion of the Pridelands. These weren't just followers, they were true believers willing to die for a cause most of them had never even experienced firsthand. Original concept materials reveal that Zira's leadership methods borrowed heavily from cult tactics. She positioned herself as the keeper of Scar's sacred flame. During the harshest drought seasons when prey was scarce, Zira would gather her pride around what the storyboard artists called Scar's altar, a rock formation resembling Scar's face where she conducted elaborate ceremonies. These were carefully orchestrated rituals designed to deepen devotion to their cause. One striking concept sketch shows Zira standing atop this formation, her thin frame dramatically silhouetted against the moon, as her followers gaze upward with hollow-cheeked reverence, many having gone days without food yet still chanting Scar's name with unwavering conviction. The psychological tactics Zira employed forged her followers into an unbreakable chain, each lion bound to the next through shared suffering and purpose. She created an us versus them mindset by reinforcing that Pridelanders viewed Outlanders as inherently inferior. Cubs learned from birth that their hunger stemmed directly from Simba's selfishness. According to production notes, Zira established a mythology of return, the promise that their suffering was temporary and would be rewarded when they reclaimed Pride Rock. Food scarcity became Zira's most powerful control mechanism. She implemented a hierarchy where lions received food based on demonstrated loyalty. Those questioning her interpretations or suggesting peaceful solutions found themselves starving at the bottom of this system. This created fierce competition to prove devotion through extreme declarations of hatred towards Simba, or volunteering for dangerous border missions. Zira weaponized motherhood by positioning herself as the Pride's maternal figure. While treating her own children with calculated favor based on their usefulness, she would personally groom sick cubs or share her food with elderly lions, but only after they'd participated in loyalty rituals. This selective nurturing created powerful emotional bonds mixed with fear, making followers desperate for her approval. Her manipulation extended to rewriting history itself. She fabricated stories about Scar's reign as a time of abundance when lions claimed their rightful place above other species. Original script drafts showed older lions who remembered Scar's actual drought-stricken reign being systematically isolated until contradicting voices disappeared entirely. Physical training complemented emotional control. Concept art reveals training grounds where cubs participated in fighting drills from their first steps. Unlike Simba's playful teaching approach with Kiara, Zira's methods were brutally militaristic. A particularly haunting storyboard shows a young cub, ribs visible through his fur, repeatedly attacking a training dummy until collapsing from exhaustion, only to rise again under Zira's approving gaze. Injuries became badges of honor, creating a culture equating physical suffering with loyalty. Zira's masterstroke was creating tangible hope through Kovu. She presented a living symbol her followers could rally behind. Training sessions became public events where the entire Pride gathered to witness his progress. This transformed their abstract hopes into something measurable as Kovu grew stronger each day, the final link in the chain of devotion that bound the Outlanders to Zira's vision. Those boundary visits fueled her followers' rage, but what if Zira's entire mission was built on a fantasy? The original storyboards reveal something shocking about her relationship with Scar that changes everything we thought we knew about her motivation. What if the lioness who devoted her life to avenging Scar's death was fighting for a promise that never existed? The truth behind Zira's obsession might be far more disturbing than we realized. When we look closely at the first Lion King movie, Scar never mentions having a mate or chosen successor. His conversations with the hyenas and his monologues focus entirely on his own power and grievances. Early production notes from the sequel reveal that the writers deliberately created this ambiguity. Was Zira truly Scar's chosen queen, or had she constructed an elaborate fantasy to cope with rejection? The original concepts for Lion King 2 paint Scar as manipulative, using the lionesses as pawns and showing affection only when it served his purposes. Concept art depicts Scar surrounded by different female lions at different times, with Zira appearing as merely one of many lionesses desperate for his attention, not his chosen partner. This fundamentally challenges the foundation of Zira's revenge mission. The external evidence against Zira's claims is compelling. Throughout both early drafts and the final film, none of Simba's Pride members ever acknowledge any special relationship between Zira and Scar. Their silence undermines the validity of her position as Scar's queen. Even within her own Pride, there are hints that Zira's stories have grown more elaborate over time. Early scripts included a scene where an elderly lioness questions one of Zira's tales about Scar promising her the throne. Zira's response is swift and terrifying, banishing the lioness to the territory's edges where food is scarce. Internally, Zira's delusions manifest in haunting ways. Storyboard artists created a character study showing Zira suffered from obsessive tendencies even before Scar's death. A deleted scene reveals her collecting and arranging objects Scar had touched in a shrine-like hidden cave, becoming defensive when others approached. More revealing is a cutscene where Zira stands alone at night, having an animated conversation with Scar's spirit about Kovu's training. The camera angle makes it clear she's entirely alone, a poignant portrayal of grief transformed into delusion. The most heartbreaking element appears in the original darker ending, as Zira hangs from the cliff edge, refusing Kiara's help. She was meant to experience a moment of clarity. Her expression shifts from rage to profound sorrow as she realizes she sacrificed everything, including her children, for a lion who never truly valued her. The animators describe this as the moment the delusion lifts, revealing that deep down, Zira always knew the truth. This understanding transforms Zira from villain to tragic figure. Every harsh training session with Kovu, every border raid, every sacrifice was a desperate attempt to validate a relationship that existed primarily in her imagination. Her resistance to peace wasn't merely about revenge, it was about preserving her identity's foundation. Acknowledging peace would mean confronting that her life's purpose was built on nothing but wishful thinking. For someone who had given everything to this belief, such recognition would be more devastating than death itself. Delusions or not, Zira wasn't leaving anything to chance when it came to destroying Simba's kingdom. The parts of her master plan we never got to see in the final film might shock you, from poisoned waterholes to secret alliances with hyenas, to a second infiltrator named Nico who waited in the shadows just in case Kovu failed. That's right, what we witnessed in The Lion King 2 was merely the tip of the iceberg, a single strand in an elaborate web of schemes that Zira had been weaving for years. Long before sending Kovu to infiltrate Simba's pride, Zira established an extensive intelligence network throughout the Pridelands. According to original storyboards, she trained several young, agile lions as spies. These lions would sneak into Simba's territory under cover of darkness, gathering critical information about pride dynamics and defensive weaknesses. One particular scene showed a young lioness named Binti hiding in tall grass, documenting Kiara's hunting routines. She reported every detail back to Zira, the princess's habits, her predictable movements, even her weaknesses. This precise intelligence allowed Zira to orchestrate Kovu's rescue of Kiara with perfect timing. Zira simultaneously prepared her entire pride for war, while Kovu served as her primary weapon. Early concept art reveals Zira conducting rigorous battle drills, teaching specific formation tactics designed to overwhelm Simba's less organized pride. In one deleted sequence, she divided her lionesses into 3 attack groups, each assigned to different entry points around Pride Rock, showcasing her military strategic thinking. Zira developed a contingency plan should Kovu's heart soften. The original script featured another young lion named Nico, less physically imposing but fanatically loyal. Storyboards showed Nico watching Kovu's training sessions from the shadows, mimicking every move while Zira occasionally acknowledged him with approving glances. Unlike Kovu, Nico harbored no doubts about their mission. Her tactical genius extended beyond targeting Simba. She recognized Nala as perhaps an even greater threat due to her superior combat skills. Original storyboards included a chilling scene where Zira instructed her strongest lionesses specifically on how to isolate and eliminate Nala during battle. Remove the queen and the pride falls into disarray, Zira explained in deleted dialogue. Beyond her own pride, Zira cultivated outside alliances. Concept art depicted her in clandestine meetings with hyena leaders at the elephant graveyard. By promising them exclusive hunting territories once she controlled Pride Rock, Zira secured their cooperation as disruptive forces. The hyena packs would create diversions, drawing Simba's defenders away from the main attack path. Zira's tactics grew darker. She instructed followers to contaminate water holes along the outskirts of Simba's territory with rotting carcasses. This calculated environmental warfare slowly sickened dependent animals, creating whispers of doubt about Simba's leadership. A king who cannot protect his water cannot protect his subjects, Zira told her pride. Behind this elaborate web of schemes lay Zira's desperate need to reclaim what she viewed as her family's stolen destiny. Every poisoned water hole, every spy mission, every battle drill fueled her conviction that Pride Rock belonged to Scar's lineage. The romance between Kovu and Kiara wasn't unexpected. It was anticipated and weaponized. In the original script, Zira explicitly instructed Kovu to court the princess. Her ultimate goal wasn't merely revenge through Simba's death, but ensuring her bloodline would rule Pride Rock through generations. By having Kovu father cubs with Kiara, Zira's descendants would claim the throne regardless of how the immediate conflict resolved, revealing her vision extended far beyond simple vengeance. And so we see that Zira's tragedy is the tale of a lioness broken by circumstances beyond her control. Her transformation from pride member to vengeful outcast reveals how suffering warps anyone when pain goes unhealed. Could Simba's reconciliation rather than banishment have prevented the bloody conflict altogether? The true lesson of Lion King 2 speaks to the danger of creating enemies through exile instead of seeking understanding. When you watch again, notice the mother who sacrificed everything for a dream that existed only in her mind. Could a single act of compassion have rewritten her destiny and the fate of 2 prides?